Nathan Cole stared at the screen, his face lit by the glow of ancient symbols. The lab around him was quiet except for the soft hum of computers. It was 3 a.m., but sleep wasn't an option anymore. Not after what he found. "This can't be right," he whispered. The translation program had finally cracked the alien text it discovered on Mars last year. What it revealed made his stomach turn. He reached for his phone and dialed a number he'd memorized but never used. "Major Barnes, it's Cole. I need you at the lab now." 2 hours later, Olivia Barnes stood beside him, her military uniform crisp despite the early hour. Her eyes narrowed as she studied the translation. "You're sure about this?" she asked. Nathan nodded. "The math checks out. These aren't just stories. They're blueprints." What they had discovered wasn't just another alien artifact. It was a weapon, one capable of collapsing stars. According to the text, humanity's ancestors had once possessed this technology, using it as a warning to hostile civilizations. "The president needs to see this immediately," Olivia said. The White House Situation Room was filled with nervous energy later that day. Nathan felt out of place among the military uniforms and expensive suits. He wiped sweaty palms on his faded jeans as he waited to present. "Dr. Cole, please proceed," said President Wilson. Nathan cleared his throat. "What we found is essentially an instruction manual for star killers. The technology was developed by humans, or at least beings who called this solar system home, roughly 50,000 years ago." The Secretary of Defense leaned forward. "You're saying humans built these weapons before?" "A previous civilization did," Nathan clarified. "They used them once as a demonstration against an expansionist alien empire." The translation describes how a single star was collapsed as a warning. After that, they were left alone. President Wilson's face remained neutral. "And you believe this technology could work?" "The physics are sound," Nathan said. "Terrifying, but sound." Major Barnes stepped forward. "Sir, we're not the only ones finding ancient technology. Intelligence reports confirm that 3 different alien civilizations have made contact with each other. Their communication suggests they see Earth as a potential threat." The room fell silent as screens displayed intercepted alien communications. The images showed massive fleet movements, all heading toward the same destination, Earth. "How long do we have?" someone asked. "Months, maybe less," Olivia answered. The president stood up. "Dr. Cole, Major Barnes, I'm giving you full authority under Project Starfall. Your mission is to reconstruct this technology as a deterrent only. We don't want war, but we need a way to protect ourselves." As they left the White House, Olivia touched Nathan's arm. "This changes everything, you know." Nathan looked up at the afternoon sky, imagining the stars beyond, and the civilizations that might soon fear humanity's return to power. "That's what worries me," he said quietly. 1 week later, they arrived at a hidden facility beneath the lunar surface. A team of scientists and engineers waited for them, already briefed on the basics. "Meet Sam Foster, our quantum engineer," Olivia said, "and Dr. Diana Wright, weapons specialist." Diana shook Nathan's hand. "Is it true? Can we really make stars collapse?" "The ancient texts say yes," Nathan replied. "Our job is to figure out how they did it." That night, alone in his quarters, Nathan looked out at the Earth hanging in the blackness. The weapon they were building might save humanity, or it might doom them. Either way, the galaxy was about to receive a message it had forgotten long ago. The stars could fall, and humanity controlled their fate. Nathan watched as Sam Foster connected the final cables to the test apparatus. 3 months had passed since the project began, and progress had exceeded expectations. The lunar facility had grown, now housing over 200 personnel working in shifts around the clock. "Power levels stable," Sam announced, his voice steady despite the tension in the room. Diana Wright checked her own monitors and nodded. "Containment field is holding." This would be their 5th test, but the first using the complete theoretical model Nathan had decoded from the ancient texts. Previous experiments had produced encouraging results, small energy fluctuations that matched the predictions, but nothing conclusive. "Begin the sequence," Olivia ordered from her position at the command station. The lights dimmed as power diverted to the device. A soft blue glow emanated from the center of the room where a sphere of energy began to form. Nathan held his breath. This was it. "Reading quantum disturbance," Diana reported. "It's matching the patterns from the text." The sphere pulsed, growing slightly before stabilizing again. Numbers flashed across Nathan's screen, confirming what he was seeing. They were creating a miniature version of the Star Killer effect. "My God," he whispered, "it's working." The test continued for 7 minutes before they shut it down. As the room returned to normal lighting, a message came through on the emergency channel. "This is General Maxwell. Report to the briefing room immediately." Heather Maxwell waited for them, her face grim as they entered. Behind her, a large screen showed a star system thousands of light years away. "What happened?" Olivia asked. "Approximately 40 minutes ago, a star in the Cetus constellation collapsed," General Maxwell said. "No natural explanation. The timing matches your test." Nathan felt the blood drain from his face. "That's impossible. Our test was contained, nowhere near powerful enough to." "The data suggests otherwise." "Dr. Cole," Maxwell interrupted, "your containment field didn't fail. Rather, it seems to have created a quantum link to this particular star." Sam collapsed into a chair. "We just killed a star. An uninhabited system, thankfully," the general added. "But this confirms both the weapon's viability and its danger." 3 days later, the project leadership met with Alan Peterson, Earth's chief diplomat for extraterrestrial affairs. Unlike the others, he had opposed the project from the beginning. "You've created exactly what our potential enemies fear," Peterson said, pacing the conference room. "How do you expect me to negotiate peace when we're building the most destructive weapon in galactic history?" "We didn't ask for this position," Olivia countered. "The alien coalition is still advancing toward our system. Intelligence confirms their intent is hostile." Peterson shook his head. "Because they believe we're resurrecting this weapon." "Which we are," Diana pointed out quietly. "The difference," Nathan interjected, "is that we're doing it for defense, not conquest." General Maxwell ended the debate with a slam of her hand on the table. "The President has been clear. Project Starfall continues. Our next step is to create a controlled, targeted demonstration." That night, Nathan couldn't sleep. He sat alone in the observatory, watching Earth through the dome window. A soft footstep behind him revealed Diana. "Do you ever wonder if we're making the right choice?" she asked, sitting beside him. "Every minute of every day," he admitted. "But I keep thinking about the alternatives." "Surrender or extinction," Diana supplied. Nathan nodded. "Exactly. At least this way, we have a chance to establish boundaries without an actual war." An alarm suddenly blared throughout the facility. Over the intercom, Olivia's voice was urgent but controlled. "All personnel to stations. We have confirmed alien vessels entering the solar system." "This is not a drill." Nathan and Diana exchanged a look. The time for tests and theories was over. Humanity's warning to the galaxy would need to be delivered sooner than anyone had planned. The Vorax ships appeared at the edge of Neptune's orbit, a fleet of crystalline vessels that glittered like deadly jewels against the blackness of space. Earth's long-range telescopes counted 73 ships, the smallest still larger than anything humans had built. "They're not responding to any communication attempts," Olivia reported in the emergency council meeting. Representatives from every major nation attended virtually, their faces grim on the screens surrounding the Lunar Facilities Command Center. "What do we know about them?" asked the Secretary General of the United Nations. Nathan stepped forward. "The Vorax are mentioned in the ancient texts. They're described as conquerors who absorb technologies from subjugated species. They've stopped moving," Sam announced, watching the tracking display. They're holding position just beyond Neptune. A new alert sounded. Diana's fingers flew across her console. We're detecting a transmission. It's directed at Earth. The screens flickered, then displayed a being with pale blue skin and 4 eyes arranged vertically on a narrow face. When it spoke, the translation software worked in real time. Humans, your development of stellar collapse technology violates galactic safety protocols. Surrender your research and accept our guidance, or face immediate elimination. The transmission ended abruptly. Silence fell over the command center. They know about Starfall, General Maxwell said quietly. We've got movement, Sam interrupted. 10 vessels have broken formation and are accelerating toward Earth. President Wilson's face appeared on the main screen. Dr. Cole, Major Barnes, what options do we have? Nathan and Olivia exchanged a glance. They had discussed this possibility, but hoped it wouldn't come so soon. We could demonstrate the weapon, Nathan suggested. Not on them, but on a distant, uninhabited star within their visual range. The device isn't fully tested, Diana warned. It's our only option, Olivia countered. We can't match them in direct combat. After a tense 5-minute discussion, the president gave approval. The Starfall team rushed to prepare the device, while Olivia coordinated with Earth's defense forces. Target selected, Diana announced. Star HD 89,773. No planets, visible from the Vorax fleet's position. Nathan checked the calculations one last time. Containment modified to create directed quantum link. We should be able to affect just this one star. Powering up, Sam reported. The facility hummed as energy flowed into the Starfall device. The blue sphere formed again, but this time they manipulated it differently, focusing its effect toward a specific point in space. Quantum link established, Diana said, her voice steady despite the sweat beading on her forehead. Nathan took a deep breath, initiating stellar collapse sequence. For 30 seconds, nothing seemed to happen. Then alarms blared from Sam's station. The star is showing signs of instability, core pressure increasing rapidly. They watched in silence as the distant star began to pulse visibly, even in their telescopic view. Then, in a blinding flash, it collapsed in on itself before releasing a massive shockwave of energy. Stellar collapse confirmed, Diana whispered. God help us. The Vorax fleet has stopped advancing, Sam reported after a moment. They're holding position. A new transmission came through. The same Vorax appeared, but its demeanor had changed. Its vertical eyes narrowed, and its voice carried a new tone that the translation software interpreted as caution. This demonstration is noted. We withdraw temporarily to consult with our leadership. This discussion is not concluded. The screens went dark. Tracking showed the Vorax advance force returning to the main fleet. They're retreating, General Maxwell announced, but there was no celebration in her voice. Not retreating, Olivia corrected. Regrouping. They'll be back, and with a new strategy. Nathan stared at the screen showing the collapsed star. What had once been a shining point of light was now an expanding shell of gas surrounding a dark core. We've just changed the rules of engagement, he said quietly. For better or worse, humanity has shown the galaxy we can make the stars fall. President Wilson's voice came through clearly. Prepare full defensive measures, and continue developing Starfall. Next time, we may need to do more than just demonstrate. The news of the star's destruction spread through the galaxy faster than anyone expected. 2 weeks after the Vorax retreat, Earth's deep space monitoring stations detected 7 distinct ships approaching from different directions. Unlike the aggressive formation of the Vorax, these vessels traveled alone and broadcast identification signals ahead of their arrival. They're requesting diplomatic meetings, Jack Murphy explained the Emergency Council. As Earth's chief cultural attaché, he had been added to the Starfall team to help manage first contact situations. Each ship claims to represent a major galactic power. Eliza Gordon, the xenobiologist who had joined the project last month, studied the biological data being transmitted. We're looking at species from 7 different evolutionary paths. Some breathe oxygen, others methane or hydrogen compounds. They've never worked together before, according to their own histories. Yet they're arriving simultaneously. Olivia noted, suspicious. That's not coincidence. President Wilson authorized carefully controlled meetings on a space station positioned between Earth and the Moon. Security was paramount, with each alien delegation limited to 3 representatives and subjected to extensive scanning before being allowed on board. Jack and Eliza led the human diplomatic team, while Nathan, Olivia, and General Maxwell monitored from a secure room nearby. The first meeting began with the Archean delegation, tall beings with crystalline growths along their spines. "We come with concern," the lead Archean stated through a translation device. "The weapon you have demonstrated disturbs the balance of power that has maintained peace for 12,000 years. Jack maintained a calm expression. "Earth seeks only to defend itself." The Voraks approached with hostile intent. "The Voraks are merely one threat," replied the Archean. "Your weapon has drawn the attention of many others." Throughout the day, each delegation expressed similar concerns, though their approaches varied. The gaseous Melosians were direct, the insectoid Vraxi veiled their warnings in metaphors, and the aquatic Andare barely concealed their fear behind diplomatic language. As Eliza escorted the final delegation back to their ship, she noticed something odd about their behavior. The brief hand signal between 2 representatives caught her attention, a gesture she had seen earlier from a completely different species. That night, she shared her observation with the team. "They're coordinating," she concluded. "These supposedly separate civilizations are working together more closely than they want us to know." Nathan frowned. "Why hide that?" "Because they want us to think we're facing individual concerns rather than a united front," Olivia suggested. "Divide and conquer diplomatic tactics." Jack pulled up the scans taken during the meetings. "Look at these energy readings from their translation devices. They're identical despite supposedly coming from different technological traditions." General Maxwell's face hardened. "Run a full spectrum analysis on all communication channels." The results came back an hour later, confirming their suspicions. Encrypted transmissions were flowing between all 7 ships, and occasionally beyond the solar system toward the region where the Voraks had retreated. "They formed a coalition specifically to deal with us," Olivia concluded. "Or to destroy us," General Maxwell added. While the diplomatic meetings continued publicly, Nathan and Sam worked to enhance Earth's defensive capabilities. The Starfall device was modified to allow for quicker targeting, while Diana developed safety protocols to prevent accidental activations. 5 days into the negotiations, Eliza discovered a hidden transmission in the background radiation of the Vraxi communications. Using specialized decryption algorithms, she managed to translate portions of it. "They're planning something," she told the team urgently. "Listen to this. Primary fleet positioned behind the Red Giant. Secondary forces will neutralize the weapon facility once the signal is given." They never intended to negotiate, Olivia realized. They're stalling while they prepare an attack. Jack looked grim. "What do we do? If we confront them, they'll likely accelerate their plans." Nathan stared at the star map, showing the alien vessels' positions around Earth. "We need to send a clearer message, one that shows we know their real intentions but still prefer peace." "How do we do that?" General Maxwell asked. "We prepare an ultimatum of our own," Nathan replied. "And this time, we make sure the entire galaxy hears it." The Emergency Council gathered in the Lunar Facility's secure chamber. Screens displayed the positions of all known alien vessels, including several newly discovered ships hiding behind Jupiter's moons. President Wilson joined via encrypted channel from the underground command center on Earth. "We're facing a coordinated attack," Olivia explained, pointing to the tactical display. "Our intelligence suggests they plan to strike within 48 hours. Before we act," Jack cautioned, "we should consider one last diplomatic approach." General Maxwell shook her head. "Diplomacy has failed. They used negotiations as cover while positioning their forces. Not necessarily, Nathan said, drawing surprised looks. We've been reacting to their moves since this began. Maybe it's time we set the terms. What are you suggesting, Dr. Cole? President Wilson asked. An ultimatum, but not like theirs. Something they won't expect. Nathan turned to Diana. How precisely can we target the Starfall device now? Diana straightened. With the modifications, we can target individual stars with 99.8% accuracy. We've also developed a way to create partial collapses, essentially warning shots. Then we use that, Nathan said. We broadcast a message to all ships and their home systems, explaining exactly what our technology can do and what it can't do. Show our hand completely, General Maxwell objected. Yes, Nathan replied firmly, along with proof of the fail-safes we've built to prevent misuse. We make it clear that we could destroy their home stars right now if we wanted to, but we choose not to. The debate continued for hours. Eventually, the president made the decision. Prepare the broadcast. We'll call it the warning. For 3 days, the team worked to craft the message. It needed to be precise, clear, and impossible to misinterpret. Jack ensured the translation into each species' language was perfect. Eliza added cultural context to prevent offense. Nathan and Diana prepared demonstrations of the technology's capabilities and limitations. On the 4th day, they were ready. The broadcast began with Nathan facing the camera. Behind him stood representatives from Earth's nations, showing united human resolve. To all spacefaring civilizations in the Milky Way galaxy, he began. We, humanity of Earth, issue this one and final warning. The message continued with a detailed explanation of the stellar collapse technology, including a demonstration on a small, uninhabited star. They showed the fail-safes built into the system, requiring multiple human authorizations to activate. They presented evidence of the Coalition's planned attack. We know your ships are positioned to strike, Nathan continued. We know your true intentions, but despite this, we still seek peace. President Wilson stepped forward. Therefore, we offer these terms. All military vessels will withdraw from our solar system within 24 Earth hours. Diplomatic channels will remain open for legitimate negotiations. Any aggressive action against Earth or its interests will result in the targeted collapse of uninhabited stars near the aggressor's territory as a final warning before more serious measures are taken. The message ended with a demonstration of their precision, causing a partial, controlled collapse of a star just outside the solar system, visible to all the Coalition ships. As the broadcast concluded, silence filled the command center. Minutes ticked by with no response from the alien vessels. Movement detected, Sam finally reported. 2 ships are changing position. Tension mounted as they waited to see if the vessels were preparing to attack or withdraw. Then more ships began to move. They're leaving orbit, Sam said, disbelief in his voice. All 7 diplomatic vessels are pulling back to minimum safe distance. A transmission came through from the Archean ship. The crystalline being's expression was unreadable to human eyes, but its words were clear. Your warning is acknowledged. The Coalition requests 72 of your hours to consult with our respective governments. Nathan exchanged looks with Olivia. It wasn't acceptance, but it wasn't immediate war either. So we wait, General Maxwell said. And prepare, Olivia added quietly, watching the alien ships retreat to safer distances. The Coalition's response came not through official channels but through treachery. 3 days after the warning broadcast, Security Officer Paul Richards reported for his usual shift at the Lunar Facility's Central Control Section. No one noticed anything unusual about his behavior as he passed through the security checkpoints, his credentials scanning properly at each station. It was only when he entered the power regulation chamber and locked the door behind him that alarms began to sound. Security breach in Section 4. Sam's voice echoed through the facility. Someone's manually overriding the reactor safeguards. Olivia reacted first, drawing her sidearm and sprinting toward the section with 2 security officers. They'd reached the sealed door just as the internal cameras came online, showing Paul hunched over the main control panel. "Richards, what are you doing?" she demanded through the intercom. He didn't look up. "What needs to be done? You don't understand what you've awakened." Nathan arrived moments later, out of breath. "The system shows he's increasing power to critical levels. If the containment field fails while the Starfall device is connected, every star connected to the quantum network could collapse simultaneously." Diana finished, her face pale as she joined them. "Including our son." Inside the chamber, Paul worked methodically, bypassing safety protocols one by one. When he finally looked up at the camera, his eyes had a strange, reflective quality. "He's been compromised," Olivia realized. "Neural implant technology. He's working for them." Lieutenant Zoe Martinez pushed forward. "I can get through the ventilation shaft. It connects to that room." "You'll never fit," Sam objected. "I will," Zoe insisted. "I trained as a tunnel rat in special forces." With no other options, they quickly approved her plan. While Olivia kept Paul distracted with questions through the intercom, Zoe removed her outer gear and squeezed into the narrow maintenance shaft. "Why are you doing this, Paul?" Nathan asked, taking over the communication. "We've worked together for months." "It was always meant to end this way," Paul replied, his voice eerily calm. "I was placed here before the project even began. The Coalition has agents throughout your governments." "The Coalition claims to want peace," Nathan argued, watching as Zoe's progress was tracked on a small monitor. Paul laughed coldly. "Peace through human containment. Your species develops too quickly, thinks too dangerously. The weapon you've rebuilt is proof they were right to fear you." Diana whispered urgently, 3 minutes until cascade failure. On the small tracking screen, they could see Zoe had reached the junction nearest the control room. She would have to drop down directly behind Paul, with no element of surprise. "You're making a mistake," Nathan continued, desperate to keep Paul's attention. "If you destroy this facility, the Coalition loses any chance of understanding our technology." "Understanding isn't their goal," Paul replied. "Elimination of the threat is the only." His words cut off as Zoe dropped from the ceiling vent. Despite her small frame, she moved with lightning precision, striking Paul at the base of his neck with a practiced blow. He stumbled but didn't fall, turning to fight with inhuman speed. The struggle was brief but violent. Paul's enhanced strength gave him an advantage, but Zoe's training proved superior. She managed to pin him against the control panel, her forearm pressed against his throat. "Override code Sierra 904, she shouted, knowing the facility's AI would respond to her voice. "Emergency shutdown." The rising whine of the reactors began to fade. Paul struggled one last time, then went limp as the neural implant in his brain sparked and failed, designed to self-destruct rather than be captured. As emergency teams secured the facility, terrible news arrived from Earth. The Coalition's preemptive strike had begun despite the ongoing negotiations. Orbital defense stations reported multiple ships emerging from hyperspace, weapons already firing. "They never intended to accept our terms," General Maxwell said grimly as they watched the attacks unfold on the monitors. "The sabotage was just to disable our main defense before they struck." Nathan looked at Olivia, both understanding what this meant. "Then we have no choice but to deliver on our warning." "All of it," Olivia agreed quietly. Nathan stood at the main control station, his hands steady despite what he was about to do. Around him, the command center buzzed with urgent activity as reports of the Coalition's attack on Earth continued to arrive. "Orbital Defense Platform 3 is down," someone called out. "London reports multiple impacts in the surrounding area. Beijing's particle shield is failing," another voice added. Olivia joined Nathan at the console, her face grim but determined. "The President has given final authorization. All verification codes confirmed." They both knew what this meant. After months of hoping diplomacy would prevail, they had reached the moment of last resort. Diana and Sam took their positions at adjacent stations, their expressions solemn. Targeting systems online, Diana reported. I've identified uninhabited star systems near each coalition homeworld. Sam nodded. Quantum network stable. We can hit all targets simultaneously. Nathan took a deep breath. Let's be absolutely clear about what we're doing. We're not targeting inhabited systems or any stars that would directly harm their populations. This is a final demonstration of power, not an act of vengeance. Agreed, Olivia said firmly. One star near each hostile civilization's territory. Enough to be unmistakable, but not enough to cause civilian casualties. The room fell silent as Nathan entered the final command sequence. The Starfall device hummed to life, the familiar blue glow spreading through the chamber as the quantum sphere formed. In 3, 2, 1. Nathan pressed the activation key. The sphere pulsed, brighter than ever before, then separated into 7 distinct points of light that spun rapidly before vanishing. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then the monitoring stations began to register stellar events in 7 different regions of the galaxy. On the main screen, they watched as stars began to collapse, the process precisely controlled to maximize visibility, while minimizing damage to surrounding space. Confirmation of stellar collapse in all targeted systems, Diana announced, her voice barely above a whisper. The effect on the attacking fleet was immediate. Ships that had been bombarding Earth's defenses suddenly stopped firing. Some began emergency jump procedures, while others held position as if uncertain. We're receiving transmissions from multiple coalition vessels, Jack reported from the communication station. They're requesting immediate cessation of hostilities. Eliza joined him, monitoring the incoming messages. The Archean flagship is demanding to speak with Earth's leadership. President Wilson's voice came through the secure channel. Put them through to all stations. Let them see we're still united. The main screen displayed the Archean leader, its crystalline features no longer composed and diplomatic. When it spoke, its translator conveyed clear alarm. This demonstration exceeds all projections. You targeted systems with perfect precision, avoiding all inhabited worlds while still demonstrating your reach. As we said we would, President Wilson replied calmly. Unlike your coalition, humanity keeps its promises, both threats and offers of peace. Our military leadership believed your warning was exaggerated, the Archean admitted. They will not make that mistake again. We request immediate negotiations for a permanent accord. Within hours, representatives from each coalition species arrived at the neutral space station. This time, there were no hidden agendas or secret communications. Fear had accomplished what diplomacy could not, a genuine desire for peaceful coexistence. 1 month later, Nathan stood on the observation deck of the lunar facility, watching Earth rotate slowly against the backdrop of stars. Olivia joined him, carrying 2 cups of coffee. The final treaty was signed today, she said, handing him a cup. All 7 civilizations have agreed to recognize Earth's sovereignty and defense perimeter. And the Starfall technology? Nathan asked. Sealed under multiple safeguards, with international oversight, she replied. Available if needed, but hopefully never again. They stood in silence, contemplating how quickly humanity had moved from a vulnerable species to the galaxy's most feared power. Do you think they understand what really happened? Nathan finally asked. Olivia raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? That we could have destroyed their homeworlds but chose not to. That our restraint was the most important message, not our power. She smiled slightly. Some of them understand. The others will learn, given time. Below them, Earth continued its eternal spin, now protected not just by technology, but by a new understanding throughout the galaxy. Humanity possessed the power to make the stars fall, but chose instead to be their guardians. 5 years had passed since Earth had demonstrated its power to the galaxy. Nathan walked through the halls of the new galactic embassy, built in neutral space between Earth's moon and Mars. The building represented something that had once seemed impossible: peaceful cooperation among vastly different species. He paused by a large window overlooking the stars. So much had changed. Earth now held a seat on the Galactic Council, an honor previously reserved for civilizations with at least 1,000 years of interstellar travel. The starfall technology remained secured, but its shadow influenced every diplomatic meeting, trade agreement, and cultural exchange. "Admiring your handiwork," Olivia asked, joining him at the window. She wore the formal uniform of Earth's Security Command, the silver stars on her collar indicating her promotion to commander. "Just thinking about how quickly things change," Nathan replied. 5 years ago, we were fighting for survival. Now we're hosting the annual Science Summit." Olivia smiled. "Speaking of which, your presentation starts in 10 minutes. They walked together toward the main conference hall, where representatives from 27 species waited. Some had been Earth's enemies during the crisis, but curiosity about human science had overcome their initial fear and distrust. "Are you nervous?" Olivia asked. Nathan adjusted his tie. "A little. It's not every day you present a new form of faster-than-light travel to the galaxy's brightest minds." "They'll love it," she assured him, "especially since it doesn't involve collapsing stars." The discovery had come unexpectedly during their research into the quantum effects of starfall. Nathan's team had found that the same technology could create stable wormholes without the devastating side effects of stellar collapse. It would revolutionize travel between worlds, cutting journey times from years to minutes. As they approached the conference hall, they passed Diana and Sam, now married and leading their own research teams. Beyond them stood Zoe Martinez, recently appointed as head of embassy security, talking with Jack and Eliza, who had become Earth's premier xenodiplomatic team. "The old crew, all in one place," Nathan observed. Inside the conference hall, silence fell as Nathan took the stage. Faces of every shape, color, and form turned toward him. Some with eyes, others with sensory organs humans had no names for. Yet all shared the same expression, eager anticipation. 5 years ago, Nathan began, humanity sent a warning to the galaxy. The stars would fall if we were threatened. Today, I bring a different message. The stars will connect us. He activated the holographic display, showing the principles of the new transportation system. As he explained the science, he noticed the Archean representative leaning forward, its crystalline structures reflecting light with interest rather than hostility. "This technology will be shared freely with all peaceful worlds," Nathan concluded, "not as a demonstration of power, but as an invitation to explore together." The response was immediate, a standing ovation that transcended species barriers. Even the Vorax, once Earth's greatest threats, joined the applause. Later that evening, Nathan stood alone on the embassy's observation deck. Earth glowed blue in the distance, while Mars shone red on the opposite horizon. Between them hung the stars, no longer potential weapons, but pathways to new discoveries. Dr. Cole. The voice belonged to the Archean leader, approaching with the careful movements of its species. "Your presentation was most illuminating." "Thank you," Nathan replied. "I hope it helps build trust between our worlds." The Archean's crystalline features caught the starlight. "After your demonstration 5 years ago, many believed humans would use starfall to dominate the galaxy. Instead, you secured it and offered cooperation. This was unexpected." Nathan smiled. "That's the thing about humanity. We contain multitudes, both the capacity for great destruction and great creation. A dangerous balance," the Archean observed. "But a necessary one," Nathan answered, looking out at the stars. "And one we hope to maintain, with help from our galactic neighbors." As the Archean departed, Nathan remained watching the stars that once could have fallen at his command. Now they represented something far more valuable than power. They were beacons of possibility in a galaxy slowly learning that cooperation might be stronger than fear.